All right, what's up, everybody? We are back here again for week number 5 of Pete's Power Rankings. Yes, I go through, I watch 99% of all these games. I take in notes, keep in tabs. I'm ranking everybody from 32 to number 1. And man, we're just under a quarter of the way through the season, a full month gone. It's going way too fast. It looks like we're getting some clarity on this league. Who are the good teams? Who are the bad teams? Some of these teams we thought were going to be good might actually just be flat out bad. And some of these teams we thought were going to be bad are actually good football teams. And there's a lot of movement in between. But remember, these are not the standings. These are the power rankings. But let's get into it. The worst teams in the league, 32 through 23. Okay, they've been parked at the bottom for a few weeks now. The Chicago Bears, they are the losers of the toilet bowl against Denver, blow a 21-point lead. What can be said? The only upside is they own the 31st team's pick, the Carolina Panthers, who are also winless after losing to Minnesota at home. So the Bears at least have the first and second picks. Carolina, what about you? New England, awful. Mac Jones, you got to move off of him. Vegas, terrible. Jimmy G didn't play, and that's a bad football team. Denver, nice comeback. But Sean Payton, your defense is ash. You gave up 28 points in like 3 quarters to the Bears. Cool, you tightened up at the end of the game. Bad. The Saints, we didn't buy in the Saints. We're not buying them now. This offense is broken. All I heard was how great this offense was going to be. They can't score 17 points a game, this team. Pretty awful on offense. Tennessee, the most bipolar team in the league. You get smashed by bad teams, and then you show up and you beat some teams. That's just Tennessee. If you're up by 10 points, they're a real pain in the ass to deal with. If they're down by 10 points, you're going to blow that team out. Just a weird team. The Jets, Zach Wilson showed you some life. Arizona, a spunky and feisty team. We never thought they were the worst team, and they keep fighting hard. Josh Dobbs doing a very serviceable job for the injured Kyler Murray, and they still got to figure that whole situation out. And the Giants, I know they're undermanned. They're missing their offensive line. They're missing Saquon Barkley, but pathetic performance from them at home on Monday night. Just awful, and the schedule does not get any easier. Miami and Buffalo coming up. But let's get to our middle tier teams, teams 22 through 16. A lot of movement here, some up and coming young starters, and some teams we thought were going to be great and just not doing anything. Okay, the Commanders up 3 spots. Feisty team, really nice bounce back, gave the Eagles all they could handle. Riverboat Ron losing his moniker, though. You needed to go for 2 at the end of regulation to end the game on your terms. You lose it in overtime, bad. Bengals, man, they're just bad. They're a bad football team. Joe Burrow is nicked up. The offense has no rhythm. The play calling's atrocious. The defense was Swiss cheese against Derrick Henry and a awful Tennessee Titans offense, honestly, through the first 3 weeks of the season. Pittsburgh, Matt Canada's got to go. Kenny Pickett, I'm getting very, very worried about him. Lit up the preseason. Looked good last year in the short games he started, but he's been awful from them. Falcons, another team. Desmond Ridder might be the worst quarterback in this league. We were worried about that, and he's letting us down. Teams have figured out, you take away this run game, commit to the run game. He cannot throw the football. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, complete waste. And Arthur Smith really screwed this thing up. Defense doing a good job, but yeah, you need a quarterback. Houston, we were on Houston before the season. We thought it would be a little bit later that we started seeing the strides, but CJ Stroud is a dude, it looks like. And teams 18 through 16 were my hardest fights here. Minnesota, I'm going to put them up. They showed some life. Again, the defense, a strong performance from the defense against a bad team, and the offense played bad, and they still won the game. Maybe that's the key. The offense has been awesome through the first 3 weeks of the season. They were bad. They won a game. Big test at home against the defending champs, Chiefs. If they can win that game, they could start rolling off some things and getting back into play. And the Colts at 16. I'm going to reward this team. A huge comeback, down 23-0, tie the game, force it to overtime, and they never got the ball back. It was an awesome effort by the Rams. But the Colts, really good. Anthony Richardson, he looks like a bigger, stronger, faster Cam Newton. Can't throw the ball 5 feet, kind of like Cam Newton sometimes. But hey, we'll get it figured out. Shane Steichen doing a great job in Indianapolis. But let's get to what you came here for, the top 15 teams in the league. Let's start it off with team number 15. Okay, at number 15, I got the Chargers. I hate this football team so much. I really love them, but I hate them. Brandon Staley is the worst coach in football, and this is 2 weeks in a row he's been let off the hook for the biggest bonehead decisions in football. He's just unbelievable. It's a comical of errors with this man at head coach. He's horrible. His defense is bad. He's horrible at decision making. He should not be rewarded for this, but Kellen Moore in the offense is doing just enough. This team is so talented. They can overcome their incompetent head coach. Justin Herbert is busted up, broken finger on his non-throwing ham. Chargers get a bye. They're going to need to heal. He should be good to go. Maybe they can convince Staley that the team is, not playing on Sunday. Maybe it'll get him fired. I don't know. Just, let Kellen Moore take over this team, and I would trust them so much more. But for now, the Chargers here at 15, 2 wins in a row, super talented, the worst head coach in the league, and they drive me absolutely insane. All right, at number 14, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker money maker. After getting shellacked at home on Monday night against the Eagles, it looked like the pumpkin had struck midnight on them. But guess what? Big bounce back game on the road at the Saints, a good defense, and they shut down this terrible offense, and they scored some points. Baker got the doubters on him again, and he's right back to winning football games, and this is a huge win in the division on the road against what looks like to be your biggest competition. Maybe the Falcons are the team, but the Buccaneers now have a nice leg up in a very weak division, and Baker's throwing the ball better. He's holding on to the ball longer. He's letting plays develop, and he's making it work. This was the thing. Brady was just getting rid of the ball so fast last year, possibly not letting things develop because he didn't want to get hit. And Baker's a crazy man. He's going to sit in there. He's going to take the hits. They're also a lot more balanced. They're doing a much better job at running the football, and the defense is still good. Defense still has dudes on it. They make plays. Let's see how long the Buccaneers can keep it up, but there's not a very high bar in the NFC South, so I got the Buccaneers here at 14. Keep rolling, Bucs. Keep rolling. Okay, over in London across the pond, I know nobody watched this game, but the Jaguars, big bounce back. The biggest concern with this team is the offense. The offense is just, what is going on, man? They don't score points. The defense had to get a pick 6 to seal this thing. The defense has been playing pretty good. They've really done a good job. They shut down the Chiefs for most of that game. They're keeping this team afloat. They're at 2-2 right now, a wide open AFC South. I'm thinking their offense is going to get it figured out. I don't know what happened, man. Ridley's not getting the ball. They can't run the ball. I know the offensive line's got a lot of moving parts right now, but Trevor Lawrence just does not look comfortable. He's not making great reads. With all that said, I still believe in this team. I think they're trending in the right direction. They're winning some football games, but man, it's just tough to figure out what this Jags team's going to do. Maybe I have too much faith in them. Maybe I need to let them go. But there's just too much talent. They're winning games. They're still tied for first place in the division. So it's not like they've dug themselves a super deep hole or anything like that. A huge test. They're still in London. First team ever playing back-to-back games in London. They got the red-hot Buffalo Bills coming to town. I guess it's kind of like a home game for the Jags now. If they can give Buffalo a game, they don't even necessarily have to beat them. But if they do beat the Bills, really big statement that the Jags are back to the team we thought they would be. So there's a lot on the line this weekend. Early kickoff. Everybody should wake up, make some eggs, cook some bacon, and watch that football game. Okay, number 12, I got the Green Bay Packers dropping a few spots here. Jordan Love he looked overwhelmed and overmatched by the Lions. And Matt maybe Matt LaFleur's not that good of a head coach. I know he's won some games with Aaron Rodgers, but he's been outcoached constantly in playoff games, in big spots, and I just don't see it with this guy. The play calling is not creative. There's no juice on this team. I know they've been banged up. The defense, not as advertised. I thought people were overselling this Packers defense, but it is good enough to win you games, and I think Jordan Love's got to be better. I think they're just overmatched by a division opponent that they're not necessarily ready for. Jordan Love's not a complete disaster, which was the big worry, but he's not a guy either. I know Green Bay was overselling him. He just feels like a 15, 16 overall quarterback, just kind of in the middle there. He might be the new Andy Dalton out there, just that average-ass quarterback. Packers got to figure some things out. They're at Vegas this week. They had 11 days off the prep, so I expect them to get back on the winning track. But the Packers could be here for a free fall. I think we talked about it last week. Green Bay could be a team that I had overranked, and they're going to slide back in this 14 to 15 range. I got them at 12 here. And another team I talked about sliding up did this week. But let's go to number 11 first. Number 11, I'm going to drop the Browns 2 spots here. It was just a weird game, weird situation. I love the Browns this weekend. They were laying 3 at home against a Ravens offense that had been massively struggling. But Deshaun Watson gets cleared to play. He picks up an injury on Friday, gets cleared to play, and says, nah, I'm good. I'm giving him extra dock because Watson said he couldn't go. Sometimes you got to go. Now, they had a bye coming up. Maybe it is the safest thing. They punt on this game. It's a home division game, though. You win this game against the Ravens, and you have a stranglehold lead on this division, which is a very competitive division. But they punt on this game, and DTR was just atrocious. And Kevin Stefanski showing what I talked about. Bad play caller, bad game management. Why are you throwing the football with this kid? Why are you making life difficult? I'm running the ball 40 times and trying to win a 3-0 game with my defense. He gets reckless with the play calling. They turn the ball over, put the Ravens in great spots. The Ravens convert. They had a lot of short fields. The Browns defense looked a little bit human this week. Maybe they aren't as great as we had hyped them up to be because they played some bad offenses. It's starting to look like still a very good defense. But man, the offense did not play complimentary football this week. I'm only giving them a slight knock here because I think they are a much better team when Deshaun Watson plays. But man, how motivated is Watson? What are they going to do? Go figure some things out on the bye, Cleveland. Hopefully they can keep this up coming out of it. Okay, number 10, LA Rams, man. I like the way the Rams play. Now, they blew a 23-point lead, but they got the ball in overtime, and they did what they needed to do. They won the game on the road. Look, the Rams have a stud at wide receiver. Puka Nacua, the 5th-round pick, just tearing up every rookie receiving record right now. Most receptions, most yards through a player's first 4 games. And that's without Cooper Kupp on the field. Imagine what this offense can look like when Cooper Kupp's on the field. Now, the offensive line is doing a better job, but still not a great job of protecting Stafford. He's now picked up an injury, and with an old quarterback picking up an injury who puts his neck on the line a lot to try and make plays in the game, what's that going to mean? Now, the Rams defense, you got to be better. Maybe they let their foot off the gas. They were great through the first 2 quarters of this game. 2 quarters plus, really. They looked dominant. Aaron Donald back at it again. This looked like the Rams team that we kind of saw 2 years ago. They looked like that Super Bowl team. I don't love that they blew the lead, but a lot of teams aren't winning football games, and they won football games. They run the ball pretty effectively. Kyron Williams seems to be that right guy that they needed for this offense. I would have liked this game a lot better if it finished 24-10 or 24-14 or 23-14. Hell, I would have lived with 23-17. But alas, they win the game in overtime. Rams, tough test coming up. They got the Eagles. This is a very interesting game. I'm very excited to see what they look like against a team that's towards the top of this league. Okay, number 9, a team I talked about that was a little bit lower that I thought was trending in the right direction. Your Seattle Seahawks. Geno Smith ain't writing back. Man, this team has looked great the last 3 weeks. I know who have they played, what have they done, but they're winning games, man. 3 straight wins for them after that punch in the mouth week 1. And sometimes that's what you need. Maybe you need to get punched in the face early, get your wake-up call. The defense hasn't been great on the back end, but they've been tightening the screws a little bit. They really brought it to Daniel Jones this week. 11 sacks on the Giants, made life living hell for that team. The offense, they weren't super aggressive. They kind of just knew the Giants couldn't score. They didn't take their shots. Geno did get nicked up in this game, but he came back. They finished the second half strong, really dominated this game. It never felt out of control of the Seahawks. Nice win on the road for them. They're going to head into the bye, get Geno healed up, and I'm very interested to see if the Seahawks team can make a move towards the even higher ends of this league, because the division's really kind of lost right now. There's a team in this division that's damn good, but it's only a game. It is only a game. Maybe they can make a rebound against said football team. I think they play this team pretty well, honestly. I have to check on that. The NFC West kind of crazy. Like, everybody plays good against one of the three teams, and Arizona plays good against nobody, at least under Cliff. But I like the Seahawks. I think they're doing it right. Geno's back to what he was last year. Great receivers, awesome running back, and the defense is getting that pass rush, starting to lock people down. They're shutting down the run. They couldn't stop the run last year. They're stopping the run. The pass defense will get figured out. Bummer that Jamal Adams finally comes back and only lasts 9 plays, but a bye. It looked like a concussion. Maybe he'll be back. Seahawks, a scary team, I think. Okay, I had some tough thinking to do with the top 8 here. I'm going to leave the Ravens at 8 here. I was very happy with their bounce back. It was an awesome bounce back. They took advantage of an undermanned Browns team, and the offense got going, but it's not the offense we've been advertised. Where is the passing offense? Lamar went back to being a runner. He had 3 rushing touchdowns on the day, I think. He was just running the football. It was power run again. It's back to the same old shit. We know where this ends up. It ends up with Lamar hurt, missing the end of the season, and the Ravens maybe getting into the playoffs on good defense with backup quarterback play. We can't have this, Baltimore. Get it figured out. I know your wide receiver core is banged up once again, but stop relying on guys who are always hurt. OBJ and Bateman banged up. Zay Flowers at least is a dog. Mark Andrews, welcome back to the party. I think he had 2 tutties this weekend. Defense was awesome against a bad Browns offense, so I don't know what to take of that, but if you're great against bad offenses, that's what you should do if you're a good defense. So, nice recovery game for the Ravens. I still am kind of worried about what I'm seeing from this offense. I don't love the scheme. I don't love the way they're attacking people. This is a good ball club, and they're going to beat up on bad teams. They're going to beat bad teams. Now, what about this team here at number 7? Okay, like I said, the top 8 was really tough. It's really starting to get crowded here. Teams 2 through 8, pretty crowded. I'm going to keep the Lions at 7. Don't hate me, Detroit fans. I loved the win. You exercised about 30 years of demons at Lambeau. 6 straight wins now against the Packers. What? Dominating? Or was that the division? I think it's 4 straight against the Packers, 6 straight against the division. Dominating right now. Dan Campbell biting off kneecaps. Jared Goff, now he is turning the ball over. He had that long interception streak where he was being very careful with the ball, and they were winning a lot of games. 3 picks in 3 games for the Lions. Not great, not what you want to see. David Montgomery in the running game was awesome. Bell cow, workhorse. Forget drafting Jahmyr Gibbs with one of the top picks in the draft. Screw that. We're just going to run who we run, okay? We'll figure out there. Sam Laporta, a home run hit. We've been all over him. We love scooping him up in fantasy. We read what he was doing in training camp. He's been awesome. Defense is playing better. They're getting better and better each week. They were so abysmal last year to start the season. They finished strong, and they were kind of bad again to start the year. The first, 2 games, they weren't great. Nothing to see out of that defense. But the pass rush is getting better. They're getting better as a union, and they're starting to believe, which has been the biggest hindrance of the Lions. It's early, but they have a nice commanding lead in the NFC North. They got 3 wins. The Packers just have 2 wins. And they lost at home already. The Vikings with 1, the Bears with 0. Now, the only thing that could trip up this Lions team is injuries. And maybe if the Vikings get hot, they play each other 2 of the last 3 weeks of the season. So that's games that could really swing the division. If Minnesota wins both those games and they're 2 back right there, they're tied and have the division all of a sudden. So keep your foot on the gas if you're Detroit. Keep playing smash mouth football. And Jared Goff, keep doing the right things. Stop turning the ball over. Bring it back down again, buddy. And I think this Lions team will finally bring home a division title. But there's just a lot of good teams in front of them. I'm not ready to make the jump with Detroit yet. Okay, number 6, I got the Dolphins. I'm going to knock the Dolphins down 4 spots. We were super high on the Dolphins, and I'm still high on the Dolphins, but the Bills really exposed what the issues were this team. They scored early. They were keeping up with the Bills, but the defense could not get a stop against Buffalo. They'd been getting stops late in games when they needed to get stops against teams, but the Bills never let them keep it close. They just kept pouring it on. And the difference was very clear in the quality of defenses between these two teams. And I just got worried. Tua got a little rattled. Guys got hit a little bit. They still ran the ball awesome. A-Chain, 100-yard game, 2 touchdowns again. They have a home run at running back. I knew he would be. That's an Aggie boy for you. But Tua, every time he gets hit, I get a little nervous. It's like, is he going to get up? Is he going to have a concussion? So that's the biggest concern here. It's not the worst loss in the world on the road in the division against your other division. That's a must win for Buffalo. Buffalo can't lose that game. If they lose that game, the Dolphins have a stranglehold on this division. But I just saw some things that I've been worried about really get exposed by a good team. So we're going to keep the Dolphins here at 6 because they're just not a complete football team. And these other teams, they're a little bit more complete. And I'm going to lean on a defense more than I am on offense. Okay, I got the Cowboys staying put here at number 5. Look, Dallas dismantled an awful Patriots team. Good on them. They needed to get a win after an awful loss against the Cardinals in the desert. The Cowboys are so frustrating. If you're a Cowboys fan, you got to be driven up a wall by this team. Micah Parsons, he's getting double teamed as much as anybody in the league, and he's winning 40% of the time on pass rushes. That's unheard of. The guy's a freak. Now they're moving him across. They're doing a very good job of getting him in the right spots. But this team is such a bunch of front runners. If they get up 10, 12, 13 points on somebody, they will pour it on, especially if you're not a great team. They'll win a game by 40. They love front running. They love beating up on teams. But if they find themselves in a game when they're down 7, it's a dogfight, they just shit the bed and don't win games. That's their problem. They play bad when times are tough, and they are super big front runners. My biggest concern has been the concern all year. Mike McCarthy, the play calling, and the red zone. How is this team so bad in the red zone? It's crazy to think about. The play calling is atrocious in the red zone. They don't score touchdowns, and it's really, really going to hurt this football team when they start playing the top end of the league. They got San Francisco this week. You can't settle for field goals against San Francisco because Frisco's going to hang 7s. I don't care how good your defense is. Frisco's going to find a way to score touchdowns. You have to convert points when you're in the red zone. When your defense gives you short fields, you got to get 7. And this Dallas offense, it's just like, it's not running great. CeeDee Lamb's awesome. He's a 1A kind of guy. He's not a 1-1 kind of guy. They have no number 2. Michael Gallup's a great number 3. Cooks, where is he? Tight end Ferguson's been nice. But they don't run the ball enough with Tony Pollard. Like, Jesus, run the ball. This man's an elite running back. Now, I know they talk about his number of carries and stuff like that. I would just be super frustrated if I was a Cowboys fan because this team should be like undefeated, clearly number 2, maybe number 1, fighting for that number 1 spot, and they should be winning games by 30 points every week. That's how good this defense is. That's how good the defense is played. But the offense just isn't doing it, and it's going to be this team's downfall. Mike McCarthy, like always, will be this team's downfall. Talking about playing sloppy, though, I'm going to keep the Chiefs here at number 4. Sloppy game at the Jets. The Jets played awesome. They kind of had their backs against the wall, but the Chiefs got a W. 3 in a row for the Chiefs. What can I say? They're winning football games. They're back in first place in the AFC. Hey, man, it is what it is. Back in first in the division, first in the AFC, or at least tied for first in the AFC. Mahomes was trying some short, lob stuff. He was on that Texas Tech shit, and it wasn't working for them, turning the ball over way too much. The defense got exposed a little bit. The Jets were able to run the ball, soften them up, and then throw the football. Zach Wilson looked awesome. Is that an indictment on the Chiefs? Or did Zach Wilson just know, like, Mama Kelsey was in there, and he had to play good for her? Who knows? But I would be worried that the Chiefs defense maybe wasn't as good as advertised, and they're coming a little bit back to earth. But the biggest problem with this team is Kelsey looks old. He looks distracted. He's too busy being famous. The offensive line is atrocious for Kansas City. I mean, Taylor might be the worst right tackle in football, might be the worst lineman in football. He's flagged like 37 times a game. It's unbelievable. He's just abysmal. He got a safety for a face mask. Maybe shouldn't have been a safety, but it was still a face mask. What are you doing? Mahomes by himself. The receivers are not good. They can't catch the ball. They really don't get open. They just don't have that magic. But Mahomes is great running for third down, picking up first downs with 3rd and 22. He's still the best. I do love that Pacheco's running the ball and he's running the ball hard. This is going to help this team out if they can consistently run the ball, even when you don't have those guys at receiver and you can't make those plays passing. Running the football is going to cure a lot of those woes and at least soften up some secondaries, because some teams are going to say, well, let's just dare them to pass it, and Mahomes is going to be able to convert on those. But if teams are going to stay stubborn and let you run the ball, keep gashing them, man. I love what I see from Pacheco. Chiefs still a good, awesome football team. Interesting to see how they respond after a lackluster game against a Minnesota team who's 0-2 at home, playing at home again, backs against the wall. Interesting to see what the Chiefs do here, but they're still the Chiefs. Okay, number 3, Eagles at 3 here. Like I said, I'm not doing a lot of movement here. I think these teams just did enough. Eagles have not played good. Not played good at all. I think Eagle fans will tell you they haven't played good. They're undefeated. Like, we knew this schedule was soft. It was a very, very soft schedule for them, and they're taking care of business. Now they got the Rams here. This is a nice test for them on the road, and then I think they play the Jets the week after. The Eagles schedule, if there is a Super Bowl hangover, they're showing it, but they're winning games. Washington might just be a team in the division that has their number. They gave them their first loss last year. They kind of know how to play this team. Jalen Hurts hasn't been great this year throwing the football. He's been very inefficient, unlike last year where he was super efficient. Eagles are still running the ball, but it just feels like the team as a whole isn't quite as good. The offensive line is good, not as good, especially in pass protection. The wide receivers are good, but they're not getting as open. Goddard, not as what we thought he was going to be. Defense, not as good as last year. Still great, but just kind of like not that terrifying force that was living in backfields last season. Jalen Carter's a home run at least, which we all knew he would be, so good for the Eagles here. I still think this is probably the second best team in the NFC. I do give them a slight edge over the Cowboys. I'm very, very interested to see how those two teams match up, and I'm very interested to see how they play against a Rams team that's going to be physical and probably can score some points against them. Eagles have not played good, but they're still 4-0. We're going to keep them here at number 3. Okay, number 2, nobody circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills. I'm thinking week 1 was one of those freaky, weird losses for a team. The Bills are really making a statement. Hey, we ain't going anywhere. Now, they did lose cornerback Tre'Davious White to an Achilles injury for the season. That really hurts them. But Allen, it was in prime time. He was lazy with the ball. He was turning it over. Maybe he just lackluster. Rodgers went down. He's been awesome the last 3 weeks. Now, they played a bad team, a spunky team in Washington, and we played a good team in Miami, and they smacked them around. Stephon Diggs still letting people know he is a top 5 receiver in this league, in case you were wondering. They're running the football. That's the thing the Bills have been missing. They're actually running the football very effectively with James Cook. It's changed a lot. Allen's not turning the ball over, and look, they're scoring 40 on everybody. Defense is good. It's now not going to be as good losing White. They are getting banged up. They're still good enough. They still make life uncomfortable for teams. They force turnovers. They're turning people over. That's a big deal. I think the Bills here at number 2, I think they're the best team in the AFC. They're certainly playing the best right now. I would be very, very afraid of them. Maybe it's a team that we all kind of slept on, all forgotten, and this is Buffalo's year to at least get to another Super Bowl, maybe shock everybody. When we kind of counted them out, we thought they were done. They didn't go anywhere. So I'm very high on the Bills right now. Maybe I'm a little too high. Let me know. But I like the way the team is playing as a whole. Okay, there's no question about this one. The 49ers, number 1. They haven't moved. They've been number 1 since week 1. Week 2 is when we started this thing, but they kind of were like, well, number 1 going in. They were my Super Bowl pick before the season over the Bengals. Rip Bengals, man. That's not looking great, but I love the Niners this year. It's just such a complete team. They're a cheat code. CMC, 4 touchdowns. They let their foot off the gas. Arizona got back into that game, and then they put their foot right back on their throat, and they put it away. Never really in doubt seriously. This is just such a damn good football team. They play awesome defense when they want to. They can rush the passer. They can cover people. They can make life difficult. And I don't know how you stop this offense when it's healthy. Brock Purdy's been awesome with the football. He had 1 incompletion. He just gets the balls to his guys. let them make plays. They didn't even use Kittle this week. He was a run blocker all week. It was a CMC type week. Don't forget Deebo Samuel. Brandon Ayuk had a nice game back. This team is just so complete, so hungry for a title. Kyle Shanahan has been obsessing about this Super Bowl. I just don't see anybody stopping this Niners team. They got a big one this weekend, though. They got the Cowboys at home Sunday night. That's a game you really can make a statement. If they blow this Cowboys team out or beat them by, 2 scores, 14, that's a dominating statement against that defense, especially if they hang like 30. Man, a huge, huge statement game could be possible for the Niners here. I think they're the best team. I'd be shocked if they falter at all. Man, they're just so dominant right now. Somebody's going to beat them eventually. They're not going 17-0. But it's going to be hard-pressed to see a team that, if Purdy can keep playing like this, man, they're just so dominant. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Who am I too high on? Who am I too low on? What are you thinking? Is there a lot of movement in that 2 through 8 range? I think that's kind of the pile-up. I think there's a large gap between one and everybody else. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm too high on the Bills. Maybe I should be higher on the Lions. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. All right, thanks for stopping in. If you haven't already, click that thumbs up. Help us defeat the YouTube algorithm. If you enjoyed the content, hit that subscribe button. We have new sports content every single day. And if you want to support the channel more, click that join button. Join the channel memberships. You get cool channel badges, emojis, member-only chats, member-only videos, early access to videos, lots of cool perks. Again, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share this video with your friends, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.